Wisdom. It's an incredibly valuable asset. Some would say more precious than gold. It's attractive, appealing, admirable. Conversely, a lack of wisdom is the basis of immaturity, blind spots, and bad decisions. Wisdom. It can be gained over time, but it can't be rushed. But wisdom can be shared. That's precisely what we are here to do right now. Today, we are here to hack wisdom, to distill it, to understand it, and to process it. Why? To get better at life. Welcome to The Main Thing. This is your new Wisdom Podcast. I'm your host, Skip Linneberg, and I've set out to interview the wisest people I know. We'll see what we can learn from each one when they're faced with an incredibly difficult, soul-piercing question. Welcome back to the Main Thing Podcast, coming to you from Parkwood Studios in Almost Heaven, West Virginia. I'm Skip Linneberg. Have you ever noticed that the best leaders rarely spend much time talking about leadership? Instead, they talk about people. They talk about purpose. They talk about serving others. And somehow by the end of the conversation, you realize you've learned a great deal about leadership after all. Today's guest is Dr. Bethany Meighen, President of Concord University. After more than a decade away, Bethany chose to come home to West Virginia, a place that helped shape her and one she's now helping shape in return. Bethany believes deeply in the power of education to change lives. And today she has the privilege of helping prepare the next generation for lives of purpose, service, and impact. But what impressed me most during our conversation wasn't her title, it was her heart. As you'll hear, Bethany leads with humility, invests deeply in people, and has a remarkable way of seeing potential in others, even when they don't see it yet in themselves. Whether you're leading an organization, raising children, serving in your church, or simply trying to make a positive difference in someone's life, I think you'll find encouragement in this conversation. Before we begin, let me ask one small favor. In a recent listener survey, nearly 7 out of 10 of you told me that you regularly share episodes with someone you care about. I love that, because wisdom was never meant to be hoarded, it was meant to be shared. So as you're listening today, if a friend, a colleague, a family member, or a mentor comes to mind, make a mental note. Then if this conversation encourages you, consider sending it their way when you're finished. You just might never know the impact one thoughtful conversation can have. One last thing. I hope you'll stay with us through the end of our conversation. That point when I asked Bethany the question I ask every guest. What's the main thing you've learned in your lifetime so far? Her answer has stayed with me. It seems simple until you begin to live it. Now, here's my wisdom conversation with Dr. Bethany Meighen. Enjoy. Bethany Meighen, welcome to the Main Thing Podcast. It's so great to be with you this morning.
Well, thanks so much for having me. I'm really looking forward to our conversation today.
We have at least 2 friends in common, probably more, but primarily Dr. Brad Lane, who I believe is on your board of governors. Is that right?
Yes, Dr. Lane is on our board of governors, and he is the exemplary of a Concord alum. He believes in our motto of come to learn and go to serve. He is such a great advocate for our students.
Brad is a great friend of the show. He was on with us on episode 142 last year, and he just such a kind person. And, I want to misuse the phrase Renaissance man because he excels in so many different areas.
Oh, he certainly does. And we were so thrilled. We got to host his book signing a few weeks ago for his latest book that came out, and almost 200 folks came out. It was a great day to celebrate him. And if you haven't read the book, it's very good. And it talks a lot about, he is a Renaissance man, but how important his roots are to him.
Yeah. Appalachian Sun. I'm about 2/3 of the way through it.
I like to think that he is a great example of what a Concord alum is, that he is
Absolutely
what we aspire for all our alums to be, that they have this passion for lifelong learning, they have a passion for service, and they have a passion for grace and kindness, which I think all of those adjectives describe Dr. Lane to a T.
Check marks all the way down that list for sure. You know who else we have in common is my good friend Jen Wood. I think you guys worked together at University of Charleston for a while.
We did. I was very fortunate to start my career at the University of Charleston, and Jen was there in the marketing department. And then we have several friends that we know each other. But I was at the University of Charleston almost 10 years. And it's a testament to the University of Charleston. One of their mottos is enlightened living and community involvement. I think Jen is the epitome of that too.
Bethany, you've come back to the Mountain State.
You know, we have deep roots here in West Virginia. My husband is from the Clarksburg, Fairmont area. My grandparents are from Charleston and Cross Lanes. I went to the University of Charleston. I started my career in Charleston when my husband's job took us to North Carolina, and we were there for over a decade. And we're at a stage of life where we want to be closer to our family. All of our family is in West Virginia. And so have been looking for opportunities to bring us back. And so was thrilled when the opportunity at Concord came here, because while we wanted to be back in West Virginia, we wanted to be back by our family. It's really important to me that I served at a public institution and an access institution and a place that changes lives. And so when this job came up, it really checked all the boxes for us as a family and then for me professionally. We just celebrated commencement a few weeks ago. I had almost 300 students graduate, and the gym was packed. And when we look out in the crowd, almost half of, I call them mine, they're mine, they're my students, are first generation students, first ones in their families to get a degree, both on the undergrad and the graduate side. And you see all these families in the crowd, and you know the sacrifice, the time, the effort that they put in to helping the student on the journey.
The pride they're feeling.
Oh, and the noise that they make when their student walks across the stage, and the joy. And it really resonates with me. You know, my papa grew up on Big Tyler Mountain in Cross Lanes. He was one of 10. He stopped out of school around 9 or 10 to help the family financially. Worked really hard, ultimately worked at a local meat market there. My grandmother graduated high school, but my grandma and my papa really wanted my dad to go to college, and worked very hard for him to go to college. So my dad got an undergraduate degree at a school in Florida. Then years later, went back and got a master's in chemical engineering at Duke University. And that opened doors for me and my brothers. My papa died very young, never went on a plane, only left the state once a year to go on the annual beach trip to Oak Island. And because of what he and my grandma did, he has very successful children and grandchildren. And while he didn't get to see us live it, I know he sees us now. So when I'm at commencement, I look in the crowd and I see people's papas, and I think that's my papa. He's really proud of what I'm doing right now.
That's so emotional. I'll just add that I'm the first for my family to go to college. And so I know exactly what you're talking about, and the sacrifice that my parents made so that I could have that opportunity to study engineering at West Virginia University was a big sacrifice. And I'm eternally grateful for that.
And again, now you know all of the doors that are open to you. And I think about my own children. My son is in college. Next year, he's going to study abroad in Italy. Again, that all started years ago. My papa and mama made the commitment to get my dad to college, and didn't want him to do things that he wasn't going to excel at. So it's a great story and a great reminder.
So you mentioned commencement. That's in the rearview mirror now. That's been celebrated, and you're cruising into summer season. Is it a little bit of a slower pace?
Concord has almost 2,000 students. We've primarily been an institution that's educated teachers, social workers, business leaders, community leaders. All of that is wonderful. We just want to expand in the healthcare space, because being a regional institution means you're a partner for the region. You're an anchor. And that means we have to respond to the workforce needs. And so it's exciting to see that. So it's actually very busy on campus. We're actually also working on some upgrades across campus. We were fortunate to get some funding from the federal government to expand some of our health science spaces. So it's a busy time. And what I love about Concord, though, is we're about 2,000, Skip. We're never going to get bigger than about 2,500.
Yeah.
We don't want to be WVU. We don't want to be Marshall. What we want to be is a small public university where you go to class, you've got 15 to 20 people in your class, and the faculty are pouring into you because there's such one-on-one attention. I also love that when you walk across campus, you're going to at least know 2 or 3 people. You'd be hard pressed to walk all the way across campus and not see someone that you know or recognize you. And
yeah.
I went to a small school myself, and I know what that means to my development and helped me become the leader I am. So I love being at a small place where folks really care about you and pour into you, but we're also very responsive to the workforce needs. So you're going to leave Concord with a great degree, a great profession. Athletics is a big part of our mission here. We just started a women's wrestling team, a women's triathlon team.
Wow.
Because athletics teaches you a lot about teamwork and leadership, and what you learn on the field and pitch is just as important what you learn in the classroom. And when we pair those together, I mean, you're dynamic when you get out of that workforce. So we're very thankful to have really strong student experiences here.
I noticed in your bio, a 2-word phrase popped out to me: servant leadership. And I love that. That's kind of my credo as well. I wonder if you would share some thoughts on how you operate as a leader.
I've been really fortunate to have a lot of good role models who model what being a servant leader is. And so for me, that means I need to do everything I can to remove obstacles in the way for my team. I'm never the smartest in the room. I shouldn't be, but I should be the hardest working in the sense that I'm going to get out of your way. I'm going to get the obstacles out of the way so that you can be successful. And I'm also going to partner alongside of you to have that success when you want me to. But also, being a servant leader, you have to recognize sometimes I'll be beside you, but sometimes you just want me behind you, right?
Yeah.
And that's fine too. And I think the other thing, if you talk to former colleagues of mine, is I really try to promote a culture of care. What we do is really important here. I tell faculty and staff, students get one Concord experience, and I want to make it the best for them. But I also, my Gammer's on the other side. When I would tell her what I did with my job, she'd be like, I don't know why you get so stressed out. She called me Bethy. Bethy, I don't know why you get so stressed out. You're not birthing babies or curing cancer. And in many ways, that's a good reset. I also need to make sure I'm taking care of my people on the emotional level. If you're having a bad day, is it a day to go home? Is it a day to take a walk? Is it a day to take a breath? And then the other thing I really try to do, and I encourage all leaders to do, is we're all going to fall short. I'm not perfect every day. We're all going to fall short. But I try to always have grace and realize the person tried their best. And so if you have that grace and realize you're going to make mistakes, that's fine. One of my great mentors, Dr. Ed Welch at the University of Charleston, he was the president there for many years, taught me quite a bit. And one of the things was you can fail as long as you fail forward, right?
There we go.
So I'll fail, but I'm going to fail forward and I'm going to learn from it. And so being a servant leader means you help your people do what they need to do. You accept that we fail forward, and that you treat them with grace and you trust them.
That's a great perspective on leadership. I love the removing obstacles for people. Being present, knowing that you're right beside or right behind that person. Speaking of presidents, you mentioned your mentor, Dr. Ed Welch from University of Charleston. Certainly he was a role model. Any others that you want to mention who have shaped your approach and have accelerated you along your education leadership journey?
Yeah, well, certainly, Dr. Welch is there at the top. He hired me for my first real job at the University of Charleston. He gave me my opportunity to be the director of alumni and parent relations.
That's awesome.
There,
I love Dr. Welch.
I do too. I was there, oh goodness, over a decade, and that was my first higher ed experience. And I didn't realize a lot of what we did then wasn't the norm. When I was there, they started a football team. They started a pharmacy program. They had construction on 3 new residence halls. They built the Clay Tower. I thought that's what you did in higher education. Dr. Welch has a big rock he did in his office, a big stone. It said nothing. And he was like, nothing is written in stone. We can do whatever we want. So I thought, this is what you do. So when I went to a different institution, a state institution, and things moved slower, I was like, oh, not everybody moves at that pace. So learning from him that nothing is written in stone was quite key for me. I worked at the University of North Carolina system office for over a decade. I had several wonderful mentors there, but one of them is certainly the system president, Peter Hans. What I learned from him is, number one, he has a really hard job. It's a very difficult job to manage 16 public universities, manage public perception, manage, how do we get people behind the work that we do? And what I learned from him is just to be a really good listener and to be a collaborator. And what he also does so well is you have to leave your ego at the door when you come in to talk to folks. And folks just want you to listen. And then I have Another mentor, Dr. Carrie Dixon, she was my boss at the UNC System office. She became the chancellor of Elizabeth City State University and now is the chancellor at North Carolina Central University. And really what she taught for me, and I needed to hear at that stage of my life, is families first. She was one of the first bosses that I had that was like, it's never the wrong decision to put family first. And as a working parent, that's a hard thing. And as someone that's driven like I am, and so to have a boss that's like, what does your family need? If your child is sick, what do you need? And to have someone like that pour into me as a mother herself was just a game changer for me at that stage in my career, because I told people I had children, but I would never say, well, I can't come do this because I have kids. But she would say, sorry, my daughter has a dance recital, this. And I was like, oh, if she can say it, I should be able to say it. So that was really one of the most impactful things that she told me, was family is never the wrong answer.
That's how that becomes part of the culture.
Yeah, it's very helpful. And again, as someone that's driven and wants to be successful, but I want to be the best mother I can be, it's hard to do that balance. So it was good to have someone like her model that for me.
3 mentors, 3 takeaways. Bethany, let me flip that around for you. Someone who works on your staff, someone who you're mentoring or is being mentored by you, what do you hope that one thing would be that they take away from you as a leader mentoring them? What are they going to say when they're in your spot and someone's interviewing them 10 years from now? She taught me.
I hope really she taught me that it's okay to fail forward.
Nice.
Because again, if you're really driven and you want to do good work, it's scary to try something new, right? It's easy just to do what we've always done. And that's part of why we're in a little bit of a pickle in higher education, right? We've kept doing some things the same way. Yeah. We can't. Students learn differently. Students receive information differently. The economy is different. So I would hope that they would say, she always gave me the grace to fail. And as long as we learned from it and moved forward, she was still my biggest cheerleader. I like to tell my students, you should always hear me in the crowd for your games or at your play. I'm your biggest cheerleader. And I would hope someone would say she was my loudest cheerleader as my supervisor.
There we go. That'd be a great takeaway. I love that. How do you view AI at Concord? What's your stance on it? What opportunities do you see that you intend to leverage? What boundaries or guardrails do you intend to set or have set? I'd love to just, if you pull back the curtain a little bit and share some thoughts on that.
AI is a tool for us to access a lot of information and synthesize it. And our responsibility here at Concord, and I would say for all of higher education, is really, how do you help students, and not just our students, the community, how do you use these tools ethically, responsibly, and creatively? You have a great deal of power at your fingertips to synthesize information. And the other thing we've got to teach our students is you need to be a critical thinker with it. You've got to question some of the information. And so it doesn't replace your thought process, how you review information. It helps you pull it together quicker. And sometimes it is nice to have someone else proof your work if you don't have someone there that's doing it. But you've got to be critical with the thinking. I'm excited about what we can do with AI because, again, for me, it's more than ChatGPT. It's how do we automate systems to free up time for more thoughtful conversations like this, right? How do you have this one-on-one interaction? And it's really hard when I've got somebody all day that's got to type in this stuff and manually enter. Well, we got a program to run that now, and it checks it for us. So now I can interact with you.
Yeah.
I hope that with all the technology tools that we've had in my lifetime, that we just understand its place and we don't let it replace the things that we value. I still value human interaction. I value hearing from you personally. I value sitting in a classroom with 18 or 20 students and talking about ideas, right? So those are things that are core values here at Concord that we value. We're just going to use AI to give us more time to do it.
Yeah, that's a great stance. I really respect that. And that's valuable to hear from you on that topic. 192 extra minutes of wisdom. That's what you get when you become a patron of the Main Thing podcast. Many of you continue to say, we want to hear more from these wise guests. That's precisely what patrons of our podcast get. Exclusive access to bonus episodes called The Whole Thing. These 30-minute special shows bring you a deeper dive into our guests' wisdom. Less editing, more laughter. Less time limits, more stories. Unlock those 192 extra minutes of wisdom for yourself for as little as $9 per month through the Patreon platform. And when you become a patron, you also get access to wisdom essays, behind-the-scenes glimpses, and access to special patron-only wisdom gatherings. Head over to patreon.com/themainthingpodcast. Go unlock your 192 extra minutes of wisdom. President Bethany Meighen, what's the main thing you've learned in your lifetime so far?
Skip, the main thing I've learned in my lifetime so far is this: to be a blessing. And I'm borrowing this from my wonderful father-in-law, Reverend Meighen. He was a Methodist minister for over 50 years. Then he retired, and then he served as a minister in several area churches in the Clarksburg-Fairmont area. His other claim to fame is, and as we talked earlier, he would have loved this podcast. His other side was media. He had a local public access show. He recorded city council meetings. He did radio.
Oh, how cool.
But he ended all of his sermons with the saying, be a blessing. And as I shared with you earlier, he passed away almost a year ago in June. And I don't believe in coincidence. I believe this is my father-in-law making this happen, because he would have loved the podcast and to hear about this. So to be a blessing for me is, it doesn't have to be something big. It's, wow, I wish I could be Oprah and give everyone, you get a car, you get a car, you get a car. But it's really just the little things, right? To give people grace, to show them kindness, to be an encourager. And you can do that in the workplace. You can be a blessing in the workplace. You can make sure you're reaching out to a colleague that you think is struggling. You can stop when you're walking across campus and just say hi to someone and check in with them.
Yeah.
And what I found is, the more and more I kind of climb, we'll call this leadership ladder, you don't get as much time to interact with folks as you would like to. So that's the other part about being the blessing, is you just stop and make time for people. You encourage them, you support them. And so I'm very thankful we got to talk about this, because he was very special. And I really do think that he would be sending this podcast to everyone. He would do Facebook live streams. I mean, this is everywhere for him. So to be able to say, Reverend Meighen said, be a blessing, is very exciting to me.
I love that. Be a blessing. So Bethany, I'll put you on the spot here. Give us a recent personal example, maybe say within the last couple days, where you put that into action. You were a blessing to someone. You saw the opportunity and you said, I'm going to be a blessing right here in this situation.
Yeah. And it's funny, as we get closer to the year mark of his passing, I think my husband and I and my kids have been thinking a lot more about him, and sort of, what have you done this week to be a blessing to others?
Yes.
It's a really wonderful conversation for me to have as a parent with my 3 boys. Like, what have you done? What have you done to be a blessing? And the other day, my one son, he didn't want to go over and mow his grandmother's lawn. And I was like, is this how you're being a blessing? And he was like, I'm going to be the blessing. And I was like, there we go. But, for me personally, to be the blessing is, there was a wonderful student that I met a few weeks ago that is going to be a new student with us in the fall. And she was at the bookstore and she wanted to get one of the commencement stoles to wear for graduation. And I was like, oh, I love it. Please send me a picture. I can't wait to see it and hear how it went. And so she sent me this picture and I was like, this is wonderful. Can we share this? And now we've started this nice communication. And so it's not big, but I get to be a part of her summer and hear how she's doing and get her ready to come here in the fall, which I wouldn't have had that encounter if I hadn't been at that bookstore at that time. She's very excited to be here. And the pictures she sent me from her high school commencement were amazing. And I was like, ooh, look at her in her Concord stole promoting us and being proud to be a mountain lion. So
yeah,
for me, that was a good one with a student. I was like, oh, look, now we've got this connection.
I love your main thing so much. Be a blessing. So for our listeners who are thinking, I like this, how can I apply this wisdom?
For me, it's starting always from a place of grace and trustworthiness, right? You've got to trust that people are showing up as their best selves. So for me, that's the biggest one. I grew up in the profession of student affairs, where a lot of fires come up from lots of different areas. There's someone getting in trouble in the residence hall. There's something that happened in the cafeteria and you got to solve it very quickly, right? I have a tendency, if there's an issue, that I just want to fix it. But that's also about giving someone graces. I shouldn't step in to fix it until we've talked about it and how do you want to fix it? Because how I fix it could be very different. So it's not
Right.
only giving me the grace to fail, but it's making myself push back. I don't need to jump in. You're the expert. How do you want to do it? And how can I help you do it? That's hard for me. I've got to sit on my hands sometimes because I just want to fix.
No, thank you for that reminder. One of the greatest commentaries on leadership that I read was so brief, and it said the only thing that I should ever hear from a great leader is, how can I help with this? You just said it. You just said it verbatim. The leader shows up, we're in that situation, something's gone haywire. Not like, okay, who did this? How much is this going to cost? How many clients did we lose? It's, hey, how can I help with this? I'm rolling my sleeves up right now, figuratively or literally. I'm rolling my sleeves up. Put me to work. I want to help fix this.
And making sure you really mean it so folks come to you with ideas.
Bethany, I want to explore another angle, a nuance of your main thing, be a blessing. If you are being a blessing, what might you be seeing from others?
So by you just taking the time to be a sounding board is quite the blessing. And sometimes you don't even need to respond, right?
That's it.
Still a blessing. Someone just wants you to listen. I think the other thing to be a blessing is to be a constant but realistic encourager, right? Like remind folks, I don't want to tell someone, hey, you're going to crush this marathon, the 26.2 miles, but you haven't trained for it at all, right? Like that's not what I'm saying. But I do want to say, hey, we're facing this issue financially. I know that you're going to help us navigate it because of, I saw you do it with A, B, and C. I'm going to give you that encouragement in that way. Yeah. But be realistic. It's no fun when someone's like, oh, you got this. When you really know, they probably don't have it. You're not doing them any good. So how do you realistically encourage them? And again, just help them be the best version of themselves. I think that's a great blessing too, is how do you help someone be the best version of themselves? One of the things that I did in North Carolina a lot, and it was much easier to do here, but it was going to be something that surprised you. I have an obsession with balloons. I love helium balloons.
Oh my gosh.
So what I would do is if someone had a birthday, they got a promotion, something like that, I would bring balloons. And I was known to be basically the balloon lady at the UNC system office.
How cool.
I mean, huge balloons. I had a wonderful colleague. I went a little over the top. She turned 60. And so we had 60 balloons in her office. But then what we did is we had people write messages about why she was so wonderful. And we tied those messages to the 60 balloons. Oh. And I love giving. I love going. I used to love to go to Party City, find the right balloon for the event or multiple balloons, bring them. And it just brought me a lot of joy.
That's awesome. Little trivia, little fun fact there about Bethany. We've covered some wisdom, some serious stuff. We've had some lighthearted moments. And I wonder if you would just take us out, Bethany, with a closing thought that you would share as encouragement or an insight for our audience of about 1,000 folks who I call wisdom seekers.
I thought about this one a lot, but I think people really underestimate really just simply being kind, showing up consistently, and really just caring about others. If we had more encouragers in this world, what a different place it would be. And really, truly, you never know how much that small act or grace can change someone's life and impact their day. And so I just encourage all of us to show up as the best version of ourselves and remind to give folks grace.
Mm-hmm. I can't add a word to that, and I won't. Bethany, that was beautiful. Great place to leave it. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom, your stories, your humor, your visions today. It's been just a golden experience. Thank you so much for coming on.
Well, thank you so much for having me. This was a wonderful conversation. Appreciate you, friend.
So long for now, Bethany.
So long for now.
That goes by incredibly fast, doesn't it? Time flies when you're hacking wisdom. Thank you for listening to this wisdom conversation. Let's give a big hearty thank you to the crew of the Main Thing podcast. These are the folks who truly keep the wisdom pipeline flowing. Audio engineer Bob Hotchkiss, strategy advisor Andy Malinowski, public relations and partnerships guru Rachel Bell, social media and digital marketing expert Chloe Linneberg, graphic designer Emma Malinowski, and of course our patrons those generous folks who provide monthly funding support to help underwrite our costs of production. I couldn't do it without you, nor would I want to. Your feedback matters a lot. If you have a question, a suggestion, maybe an idea, or even a nomination of a future show guest, I'd love to hear from you. Email me at info@themainthingpodcast.com. Well, that's a wrap for this show. I'm your host, Skip Linneberg, signing off for now and inviting you to join us again next time for another special delivery of wisdom.